Hey, I'm Susanna Lanier, actor and acting coach for over 25 years.
I'm Jess Greenberg, casting director for over 10 years.
We're here to help you navigate this crazy, creative, and sometimes chaotic journey into the film and television world.
We share our insights as to what works.
And invite some pretty spectacular guests to share more ideas to move you on your journey.
So without further ado, let's get into the show.
Hi, everybody. We're back. Book
Yay!
the Room is back. Yay! We're so excited to be back. We've been gone for a couple of months now, but 3 months, I think. And there's been a lot of stuff going on. So, Jess, how was your summer? Let's start with that.
Yeah, summer was great. It was a nice welcome break. I got together with friends, tried new restaurants, and really just enjoyed my time.
Enjoyed Montreal.
Yeah.
And work-wise, any work things going on?
Yeah, I'm working on a series called Plan B with
Yes.
Rosina. It was a French series with KOTV that they adapted to English. So her and I are working on the second season.
Right.
And great team, great show. Like the script I find and story is really amazing. And they started shooting. We're still casting some of the roles, the last few roles. So now it's like busy because it's just volume.
Yeah, it's exciting though.
Yeah, it's really fun and grateful to have a project right now. And I actually really just love this time of year. I find like it's much more of a fresh start for me.
Yes.
Then, I mean, I think a lot of people, the school year starts, it's the end of the summer. It's
Mhm.
also the Jewish New Year. So it always
Happy New
feels
Year.
like, yeah, like a fresh start, clean slate, more so than January.
Right. Yeah.
So
January, you're in the dead of winter. So I agree.
Yeah.
September, the air starts to get a little cooler. So all of a sudden there's more energy. Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah.
Montreal in the fall is the best. It's beautiful. It's vibrant. It is definitely, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. And how about you? How was your summer?
Summer was really good in terms of work-wise, was very quiet for me, but I needed the rest. I was tired. There was a lot going on. I reduced my teaching schedule for the summer, but I still kept teaching, but just 2 classes, which was wonderful. It was like, I was so excited to go in and teach the classes, and the students were great, and we were loose and fun and relaxed, but we were still getting our work done. So it was just great. And we all had energy. So I really loved that part-time teaching and also enjoying my days. My son went to camp a little, but not for the full summer. So we did La Ronde and visited with friends and stuff like that. So it was good. I mean, summer was great, but same thing now, back to teaching schedule. My son's back at school. Work has resumed, and I'm happy to do that too. I'm happy for this new season. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the industry, I guess what we were going to talk about today, because that's the big thing, is the actors and writers strike.
Yeah. The elephant in the room.
Yeah. And so that's a big thing. So I'm so happy that you're doing that project, that Canadian project, thank God, because there is still some trickle of stuff going on. From what I understand, the strike is about inequity of pay between, for the writers and the actors and the studio execs, because there is a huge discrepancy in pay and it isn't fair. And before, the model was they would get residuals on television and theatrical film releases. And so that was more fair. But now, with all the streaming services, they just haven't come to a collective agreement, and where they're making billions, the writers and the actors are not even close to getting their fair share. So that is one aspect of what the strike is. And the studio execs don't seem to want to budge, and they're being quite stubborn about it. But from what I understand, the season's going to come, and with productions not being made, they will have their hit financially and have to find some kind of collective agreement. Now, there will have to be concessions made. The actors probably and writers won't get everything they want, but at least they'll bump it up a little, and some collective agreement will be found. I don't think that huge discrepancy is going to change too much, but at least it'll be in the right direction. And hopefully.
And there's also talks about like the use of AI, right?
Yeah,
in
well,
contracts and
yeah,
stuff.
well, from what I understand with so that's the two things. It's the discrepancy in pay and the AI. So what's happening now with AI is again, it can be so much money for the studio execs who will be able to use the likeness of an actor to finish off their series. And it's already apparently started in the States where agencies are getting like extras together who are willing to do their 1 day of extra work for their $300, and then they can use their likeness for life. A lot of times that's how actors survive between gigs. It's by doing background work. So those, when they would have, 20 days of background work, now would be one. It would be so hard to survive. So
Yeah.
that's another thing they're going to have to, well, and they will find some sort of resolution too. But it's a tough one because the execs realize how much money that's worth for them. And so they're not really being quick to change that, because AI could really, really hurt the artists greatly in terms of having more than like 1 day of work.
Yeah.
But I
And
believe
it's
in the
crazy because the
actor.
execs it's not like they're struggling. So
No,
it's like the fact that they want to even save more, make more, and not spread that amongst other talent definitely just highlights what the truth is.
it's so disappointing. Yeah, it's disappointing, but I think that is how big business work, and whether we like it or not, the film industry is big business.
Totally.
I mean, how have you seen it affect Canada? I'm on Montreal, but Canada in general, because I know from what I hear, Toronto and Vancouver are like really struggling.
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely rely on a lot of American projects to come into Canada to film here. And because in Canada, we don't have the same budgets for development and for writers and to have our own amazing projects here. There are a lot, but it's not nearly as much as what goes on in the US. So definitely, we're feeling there was a few productions that I think were just about to start that completely halted and left Montreal. I think there was 2 big series.
Yeah.
So we're not even feeling all of it yet. Like if writers are stopped and until they pick back up again, until pre-production starts, this could go on for some time.
Yeah.
And definitely you feel it, it was a quiet summer. Usually summers are like booming.
Summers and fall. I mean, you wait for that. Like summers and fall are just like there's this surge in the air, and it's like there ain't no surge, I know.
The French side though, however, is booming.
They are amazing. Still, yeah. But I think I heard that they were also quieting. I don't know, so don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Well, there's also the commercial agreements that are still, so for the commercial, which are either no language or bilingual, they'll feel it too.
Yeah. All that to say is, yes, it is discouraging because that is truly out of our control. Like our podcast is about how much agency you have over your career. You at that point, like it's out of your control,
Well, this stuff, but I think it's a good reminder to like, bring it home, bring it in. Like now is the time to train, to potentially work on your own projects and try and get them made at whatever level you can, if it's self-funded, if you get funding, if, you shop it around, whatever, go for it. Like now is the time.
Well, I think that, me, I'm a silver linings person. There still is a voice industry. There is some Canadian projects happening like yours, Transplant is still being shot.
Yeah.
There's one more season of that. So there's Plan B, Transplant. There's a couple of Canadian projects in Montreal. Yes, it's just disappointing. We don't have the big American stuff. And like anything, and this I know for a fact, this will get resolved. It's not, I don't believe in doom and gloom. I don't know when, but it will get resolved. So what you do, just like COVID, it's gonna get resolved. Sometimes it feels long and it's hard, and I get it, and I'm right there. But the thing is what are you gonna do until then? You have some opportunities, just like you said. you can create your own projects, write your own projects. It just shows we need more Canadian content. We need to bump up our industry, although we will get affected by AI as much as anybody. So we're happy that they're fighting for the rights of actors everywhere and writers everywhere. And so, but stuff needs to happen. We need to do our own stuff. We need to get motivated. And it's like anything. And look, I think of it, you can train, you can. Yes, my class, I have a new advanced class. So this is my little plug, and they are amazing. And these are, working actors who are just deepening and growing and motivated, and really feel that when this comes out of it, they're going to be ready for those auditions. They're going to be ready for those projects because they're just improving their craft. So this is a time to improve your craft. And I have, my regular classes on Tuesday and Wednesday night, and they're also doing great work. So there is opportunity to sink into the learning part of it. And the growing part of it. And also, and the creating, like you said, the creating part of it.
Yeah.
Get your own stuff going. I have a couple of students who are doing, some theater now. They're good. They got 3 who are all starting projects. So it's like, and that's paid, so get some other work.
Yeah. And just to remind, I remember during COVID, the TV industry was one of the first to get up and running, in the thick of it. It's we are quick to adapt. We want to work, we
want to work.
Just to remember that, these are beyond just the executives, this is who our company is, and we are really adaptable. So we're going to make it work, and we're going to make the best of it. And
absolutely.
It's a good reminder too, that maybe this is a little off topic ish, but there's always going to be changes happening. Even I saw it really a lot this year with the Just for Laughs festival and their lineups. A lot of the shows were TikTokers that turned to podcasts that now have live shows.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, it's not the same trajectory for comedians. And are they comedians? These people are really funny. But do I classify them as comedians? And it was wow, there's a shift. There's a change, yes, there's some big headliners that are Ali Wong was one of the big headliners at this year's festival. And there's a few big names, but a lot of the shows were these just now personalities, I would call them.
Right.
Which is
crazy. It's crazy, but it's going to change, and we'll see what it comes. And it's like anything. I mean, I remember, when I was kind of starting out, I guess it was 2000, around there. Well, I was starting out around there, late 90s, but it was the reality shows. Everybody's like, oh, our business is going to get taken because of Survivor and everything. And, it was our business is going to take over by the reality shows, and actors will have no more jobs, Yes, we did. People love us. They want actors. They don't want AI. They want people. And it's not new. The changes in our industry, it's nothing new. It's been happening from back in the day when it was movies and theaters, to television takes over, to then you got your VHS, everybody's renting. They have to figure out how to do residuals on that, because the money's coming more from rentals than coming from being in the theater. So this has been a constant. This isn't new. It just somehow feels more serious now. And why do you think it feels more serious now? Because it does to me, maybe just because I'm older, and I don't know, but it does feel more serious to me than it did back then.
I don't know. Maybe there's more at stake. I remember I was listening to some podcast of a comedian actually who has his special out, and they don't get their numbers or their stats.
Their stats. I know what you mean. They say that Netflix controls it, whereas before, so the ratings were public. Where now with Netflix, they control all the companies. They control it, so you don't really know what the real numbers are.
Right. So you don't even know your worth or your value, because you don't know your reach. Which is crazy. Like,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
shows, like I remember the shows I used to work on, even on Discovery, like formula, and it was shared from the broadcaster to the producers,
Yeah,
and they
it's
would know the
public. Yeah,
numbers. And I think these streaming services are holding it, and there's this secrecy and holding of information. It's potentially.
Probably. And they certainly don't want to do the payouts. They want to keep
No.
their money in their pocket. Part of it too, I was thinking when I asked the question, it's also just because it's moving so fast. It's
Yeah.
moving so fast. Whereas before things were moving, but like the move from movies to television to like VHS, like that wasn't these huge, like now it's like constant bombardment with like a new platform, the new thing, the new, it's like constant. AI is
Yeah.
going to take over. So it's this constant information and change that it's hard to keep up. Like before, you can create a collective agreement that's going to hold. Now it's like every 6 months, they're going to have to be a new collective agreement because something pops up, and you just can't operate like that. So that's tough. That's tough. And the producers, like you said, the execs are holding on to their money and being very secretive about it. So that's it's tricky. So I think, that's what we're up against. I still think we're going to prevail. I still think things will work out. There will be some changes.
Yeah. But also like for actors to remember, like we spoke about this with Near too, like know your worth.
Yeah.
Even speaking to some people who are not actors. So they hear like, oh, what's a daily rate? And you're like, well, like on a fiction thing, it could be, for a principal, it's about $800, and then you get $100% buyout. So you're making $1,600 for 8 hours. They're like, whoa, that's amazing. Like, I'll do that, and it's like, but no, like you don't get it. Like, then you're going to like your image will be used in this thing, for 100%. It's probably about 4 or 5 years or whatever. But like, then that just lives there forever and it's out of your hands. You don't own it. And that's it. And you're like, and that might be the one day in the month that you work or in 2 months. So it's just like people who are not in it, they think like, oh, well, that's good rates. It's like, but like, it's more than that.
It's more than that. You can't look at it as your hourly rate. Like, oh, you're making, $400 an hour, 300. That's not what you're making. You have to understand that all the auditions you put in, you're not getting paid for. Also, because of all the auditions and stuff, all the concessions you have to make in terms of, the type of day job you get has to be flexible. So you could, if you get a day job and stuff like that, all how competitive it is. So how much training that costs money, you have to keep going so you can book these high paid jobs. Well, you're going to lose a lot of the quality performers if their rate goes down, because they're not going to be able to put in the work and that kind of dedication and work that it takes to book those parts.
Yeah.
So there's it goes a lot more than just like, that's a heavy hourly rate. It sure is. But that's not, you have to look at it as a whole. And
it's
as
like
a whole,
I put in the hours before stepping onto set to even be here right now. So it's not just the 8 hours. It's the preparing for the audition, the actual audition, the training, and also what happens after.
Yeah. So there's so many variables as to what goes into getting those gigs, that yes, the gig has to be high paid for people to want to really focus. Yes, it's lovely to say I love the craft and I love the art, and I do, but people also need to pay their bills, and people also, money is motivating. It really is. So as is being great at your craft. So there's all sorts of variables that go into it. But saying all this, even though it feels like a downer, I still feel pretty good and pretty motivated about stuff. I feel like I trust the universe that this will, as anything, downtimes bring you to better times always, or you can choose if they're going to bring you to better times or worse times. And so I believe this is going to be bring us to a better time when I don't know. And I think in the meantime, there's so many things like we talked about that we can do. And you can also listen to our podcast because we're going to be bringing in very inspiring people this season. We're very excited. Season two, we are here to motivate, to find silver linings, to highlight Montreal and Canada, and to have fun, and to have fun and improve ourselves. And when the strike opens up and the projects start rolling in again, we are going to be ready because that's who we are.
Exactly.
Marvelous Montreal.
And like exactly. At least we still have some Canadian or local productions happening.
We're all going to get through it, and we will be better off when it happens.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I do believe in that, that we're going to be coming out stronger for it. And in the meantime, let's do our thing. And I'm excited. I'm excited. Yes, take my class. Jess and I listen to this podcast. And if not, do your own projects. Because it will make the time pass in a lot more productive way.
100%.
Yes. And so, Jess, what's for the future? What's looking up for you? You're going to be finishing up this project and you're feeling motivated and good about stuff.
I'm also working on an independent film with Jen Vienne and Gavin Seal.
Yes, who took class, and he's delightful. Such a smart guy. He got funding for his project, and it took a long time, but he got it, and he's making his movie, and Jess is casting it. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's fun. It's shooting soon, and there's also a lot of work for that.
Right.
So yeah, keeping busy and
staying productive.
And staying, and then me and you have some little projects we want to work on for the holiday.
Yes, we are working on our agenda that is the Book the Room agenda that is going to change your life. I have been doing it's going to be great. So, and it's going to be a holiday thing, and it means you're going to blast off into 2024 and you're going to love this agenda. So I'm very excited about it too.
Yeah.
And that's when the strike. What am I doing? Well, basically the same. I just started I have my regular acting classes. I just started the advanced classes. I am still keeping my vision on getting dubbing work. I did manage that. There was a course, an ACTRA dubbing workshop that came up taught by Richard Dumont, who's going to be one of our guests. And he was amazing. Just such a great teacher. We were 6 in the class, I think. We all got so much out of it. And I'm glad to say I got a booking also after a dubbing booking. So I was very excited about that because that was one of the things when we talked last time in our mini-sode about manifesting. I said, I'd like to try to manifest some dubbing stuff, and it manifested. And that was just fun. So I'm kind of trying to get more into that, but I'm also very motivated about the teaching. And I have an online class that is a 5-star review on Udemy. And it's for those of you who at the moment can't afford taking in-person classes. I think it's like $20, and it goes through so much information. So if any of you can't afford to take the in-person classes, or just don't have the time, or maybe some of you aren't ready to take the plunge into acting yet, but are curious about it. So I highly recommend that class. It's really
a great idea.
And and it's being productive, and it's not a big investment. You do it on your own time, and there's a ton of information in it.
I'll put the link of it in our description. So
thank you. Yeah, that would be great. So that's what I'm up to, and I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah,
fun.
Feeling pretty good. My thing that I'm going to start working on, if any of you have been on my website or my Facebook page or my Instagram page, I really don't keep up with it. I'm just not a social media person. And people have said, but your Book the Room social media is pretty good. I'm like, yeah, that Jess takes care of the Book the Room social media. I do the editing. So that's how we've sort of split this. So I would like to say, yes, I am going to start spending more time on my social media and trying to bring that up to date and do a little section on acting tips and maybe some highlights from the class, and trying to be more active on social media. I've always resisted. I don't know. I have a resistance to it. It takes me a long time, but I'm starting to be more motivated and open to it, saying this
Yeah.
it could be fun. And so I'm slowly getting more into that too. Well, I'm
Cool.
not, but I will. So
Right.
when I put it out loud and I put it out there in public, yes, to any of my students who are listening, you can ask me, how's that social media going? I haven't seen any
We'll
posts.
keep you
can
accountable.
keep me accountable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about it. So we will
Yeah.
be
I'm so
doing our
happy to be back.
I'm so happy to be back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's look at the silver linings in this period, this season we're going through. And we'll be back with our mini-sodes and more great guests. And we are so happy and grateful that you were here listening to us. Thank you.
Yay.
And
Thank you.
we can't wait to see you. Bye, everybody. If you're enjoying this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to support us.
Leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. You can share this podcast with your friends and colleagues, and follow us on social media at Book the Room Podcast.
We put out episodes weekly, so subscribe to the shows to get notified.